AEW Dynamite is off the air. There's like a little Daniel Garcia tribute there with our intro, even though we do it every single time. I'm Andrew Badalla. That's Blake Mitchmore. AEW Dynamite for June 26th, 2024 is off the air. The ending and the beginning were very, very solid, in my opinion. What we saw throughout this show, for me. But we're going to get into it all here tonight on our AEW Dynamite post-show review. Mr. Mitchmore, how the hell are you?
Sleepy.
He's sleepy.
This show didn't help that tonight.
He's sleepy, he says.
Not going to make a lot of friends tonight, so let's go.
Well, I just had a shot of espresso. Haven't even eaten dinner yet. It's been a long day here. I am packing, getting my son ready for sports, all this other stuff. And then I watched a full Dynamite. I am headed to Long Island. Then from Long Island, I head to our vacation home in Minnesota on the lakes. So it's just been a busy week. Absolutely busy week. Busy week for All Elite Wrestling as well. They are filming Collision as we speak. So that will be their go home. I know a lot of people were watching this show saying, wait a second. Where is how is this a go home? First of all, I think that term is overused, but for All Elite Wrestling, that term is very, very useful because they still do sell pay-per-views. So it is a
I'm
useful
glad
term.
You said that. It is a very overused term for WWE because of their model, but it is, well, let me rephrase. It should not be an overused term for AEW because they sell pay-per-views.
Yeah, and here's the deal, right? A lot of people hate the Forbidden Door concept because it's just a lot of names that a lot of people don't follow regularly and all this other stuff. But the Forbidden Door season, as Jay says, is not everyone's cup of tea. He loves it. It's the truth. A lot of people don't know Suzuki. They don't know Tanahashi. They don't know Shibata. They don't know a lot of these guys and girls, so they don't know Stephanie Vacour.
Jobber that was on the show tonight.
Right, I guess if you want to call him a jobber. They don't know Stephanie Vacour. There's a lot of, talent that a lot of these fans, quote unquote, are not used to because they're not conditioned to watch them because they're not on AEW.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to stop you there.
Mm-hmm.
They could do a better job if they approached all of the big matches like they've done the Monet and Vacour match. This would go off a lot better for the fans that don't know that, because I didn't know jack shit about Stephanie Vacour a month ago, but they've done a great job building that match.
Sure. And you know what? The thing here is that what they could do is they could put a lot more video packages online and stuff like that.
They need that if they're going to continue to do this event. I think that's what they need to do.
Well, that's a question that I will ask Mr. Tony Khan on the media call tomorrow at 12:15 p.m. Eastern. I have a couple questions lined up. We'll see if we get to myself and Tony, but that is one of the questions, and we'll leave it for tomorrow. But the Forbidden Door season is upon us. It is winding down. The Forbidden Door pay-per-view will be Sunday on Long Island at UBS Arena. I'm excited to go home.
Wait, I thought it was in Long Island.
Ladies and gentlemen, Blake Mitchmore is no longer here. He's back. Yeah, listen, it's on Long Island. I'm excited to go home. Truthfully, I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to see some talent, truthfully, that I would never be afforded the opportunity to see unless I was headed to a New Japan Pro Wrestling show or a CMML show or an Triple
You're
H
a big Hechicero guy.
No, but I respect what he does in the ring. And the same thing goes for the Mirno Suzukis, the Tanahashis of the world. Everyone's bashing all these matches. We'll get into it, but let's talk about how Dynamite kicked off. We had MJF, no opening Dynamite video. MJF comes out to Buffalo, praises Buffalo. Then we get Buffalo. That. Yeah, it's a different angle for Max. Yeah. And then we had Danny Garcia come out, Buffalo's favorite son, besides, I guess, their adopted son, Jim Kelly. Shout out to Jim and the Buffalo Bills. But
Josh Allen may have something to say about it these days.
Josh got to get to 4 of them. Now, granted, Jim didn't win any, but he took them to 4.
You're going to tell me Buffalo likes Daniel Garcia more than Josh Allen right now?
Probably not. I mean, Josh Allen can't dance like Danny Garcia. But we'll get to that. Phil says, I, for one, am excited to be attending Forbidden Door, but I don't get why people aren't for the concept. Phil, it's not for everybody. Just like Monday Night Raw is not for the kids anymore. All right? It's not for the kids. We got people dying on Monday Night Raw. We got people being kidnapped. All this other stuff. We got
sex.
We got daddy talk. Daddy's
got a lot
Girl
of sex
t-shirts.
stuff going on.
That's right. It's not for the kids. And the Forbidden Door season might not be for everybody either. But I, for one, am happy that this concept is around because it introduces me to a whole new crop of talent. So we'll have to wait and see. Nicholas says, gentlemen, hope you boys are good. Dynamite was fire. It was fire flame. Solid. Joe's stories flowed. Pacing was good. It was just right. I like the pacing of the show, no doubt about it. But there were a lot of holes in this show for me. And I'm a big AEW guy, but there was a lot of holes in this one. But let's get back.
You're talking about like a fire at the end when it's going out and it's just like coals at the bottom, like that
I know
kind of fire.
I know you're 85, but that's what the hip kids are saying.
I know, but I'm saying we're talking about like the kind of fire that's just barely burning and it's almost about to go out, like the embers are left. I mean, is that kind of fire? So I agree with you.
It's fire flame. It means it's hitting.
All right, let's go.
All right. I like your Taz shirt. You're really leaning into that one, huh?
Yeah. That was a highlight. He was a highlight of the show tonight.
Taz is always good shit on the show, brother.
Well, yeah, but he leaned into his social media beef.
Oh, yeah.
That he had this week tonight, and that was great.
How about Jericho leaning into what Cody said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taz was a highlight of the show for me tonight.
Yeah, let's talk about MJF, Danny Garcia. MJF seems to be praising Danny Garcia left and right, talking about how he earned this, earned that. It was a different side of Max. We've seen Max kind of run down Roosh and then shill and say he's got to take on some mass luchador on Long Island. And then he's headed to Memphis for Collision and all this other stuff. And he was done shilling. Again, this is not the review for you. If you want me to go blow by blow, match by match, segment by segment, word by word, that's not going to happen. But we have Max say to Danny Garcia, hey, me and you, Wembley Stadium, all in. And Danny Garcia is about to accept, and I'm thinking to myself, are you shitting me? Like, exactly. with all due respect to Danny Garcia, I have a ton of it for him. But is this where we're headed? We're headed Danny Garcia and MJ. So MJF's first two matches back on pay-per-view are going to be against Hechicero and Danny Garcia. Now, I don't know about that. We didn't get that, thankfully, because
to quote a great man, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, I think this was done on purpose because I think Max and Will are destined for All In. If it doesn't happen at All In, it's happening soon, maybe All Out in Chicago. But maybe Will's going to take on somebody who jumps ship, brother. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, we get Will interrupting, kind of stealing Max's spotlight and kind of stealing Max's, I would say, his niceness, which we don't normally see from Max. Max was very giving.
Which I liked.
Maybe he's sitting back with Chris Jericho he's the giving tree, the learning tree, or maybe Max is going to be the giving tree. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, what happens here? Will tells Danny Garcia next week in Chicago, International Championship. And when I take the championship, the World Championship, off of Swerve, bruv, it's going to be Swerve losing to Will Ospreay at the Forbidden Door on Long Island. And I'm putting the world title on the line as well. And Danny accepts. And then Danny Garcia tries to go back to MJF and say, hey, man, look, thank you for the opportunity. I'll see you at Wembley. And MJF says, nah, you got a lot on your plate because he was out spotlighted. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He was MJF for the first time in his career was, not the man in that segment. It was Will. Right. So I think MJF was a little hurt here. And it's funny that the match was never made official. I think that's done on purpose. Like I said, I think Will and Max are destined for a match against each other. And I think Wembley Stadium's the time and the place, unless something crazy happens with Ricochet and you believe all those rumors. Currently, I don't think you bring Ricochet in, Blake, and then you automatically throw him against Will. But who knows? What do you think of the opening segment? Where do you think this leads?
So this segment was up and down for me. Like, I thought obviously Max was really good at first. Listen, I thought Danny Garcia cut a good promo, but if you're trying to get me to believe that Danny Garcia needs to be in the ring with Will Ospreay and MJF, I'm just not there. I don't think he's at that level. Just my opinion. But so it was kind of good at the beginning. They kind of lost me in the middle with Danny Garcia. And I was with you. I was thinking, you got to be shitting me. This is what we're doing at Wembley? Like, seriously? But they saved it toward the end. Will came in and like Will said it from a couple different perspectives. Like you said, you saw that side of Max that Max told us he was gonna be at Double or Nothing. Not that bullshit babyface stuff he was doing in Buffalo tonight. You saw the old Max like, really? You're gonna come out here and take my shine? All right. So
And then Max kind of saying, hey, thanks, but no thanks, kid. Like, I tried to give you the rub and you didn't want it. Okay, shame on me for even giving you the shot.
Yes. I think they say, like I said, the segment was up and down. I thought it was a really good start. The middle, they kind of lost me. And then they brought it home and it was solid. The ending was good because you teased Will and Max again. You teased another side Max. And you also showed that most likely, which I hope is correct, you're not doing Danny Garcia and MJF in Wembley.
No, I don't think you listen again. I think the plan is that if Adam Cole was healthy, we're getting Adam Cole and MJF maybe even sooner than Wembley Stadium. Maybe this was going to happen. I don't know. Maybe at Forbidden Door, they just pulled the trigger on that match because there's a lot of matches on this that originally I thought, okay, not going to have the Forbidden Door concept. And then they threw a little wrinkle like the Tanahashi stuff. And then because I thought for sure the Acclaimed and the Elite were going against each other at the Forbidden Door.
They are. It's just the Scissor Tanahashi Ace
right.
or whatever.
I don't know, man. It's interesting to see what is going on with MJF and Will Ospreay here because I think that, Will totally outshined MJF in this segment. And I think that's going to lead to Max, again, turning back to what we saw at Double or Nothing, to your point. Max, I don't want Max coming out and being happy-go-lucky Max. I want Max to almost be like AEW Steve Austin. He's going to flip people off. He's going to tell them to, go F themselves, and he's going to challenge people. I do not, and I'm not comparing Max to Steve. I'm taking Steve's attitude and throwing it into Max's personality because we need it. I need Max not to be this happy-go-lucky guy.
Max needs to be the old Max. He just gets cheered by the fans this time. That's it.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I like Swerve, but Swerve is a face. Doesn't do it for me.
Doesn't work.
Swerve tonight did it for me, which we'll end our show with tonight, though, just like AEW did.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, if I had to say right now what I think Tony's doing, they're doing Will and Max in Wembley. I think that Danny Garcia is going to play into it, Maybe at the end, Max turns on Danny and Will defends him, and that sets up Will and Max. But I think that's the direction they're going for Wembley.
Yeah. Let's talk about the BCC versus LIJ. No, not Long Island Jewish. Where my that's where a bunch of my family work. It's a hospital. It's a hospital on Long Island. So just want to make sure that that's not confused. LIJ won by DQ. We had, I understand Moxley is defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and Danielson has a match with one of the competitors that was in this 6-man tag trios match. So I dug it. I dug how Danielson and Shingo had a face-off at the end. I thought it worked. But again, where is Moxley's opponent? Maybe we get him on Collision. So I'm going to save that. Maybe that.
Out.
Did he come out at the end? Did I miss that? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Naito came out at the very end of the segment, and they just basically
did he run him off?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. All right, so I missed that. I probably turned away for a second. I apologize. I missed that. But yeah, when you have Shingo and Danielson with that face-to-face, I thought that was well done. Sets up their match on Long Island. So I didn't hate this trios match at all. I thought it was it served a purpose to build towards what we're seeing on Sunday.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. My main issue is like BCC has got Orange Cassidy status for me right now. I do not need to see them wrestle 6-mans and tag matches on every single freaking Dynamite and Collision. Give them a week or two off. Like I'm just they're just on the show too much. That's my biggest issue with them. Like I don't, Moxley's entrance used to be cool and used to be something big. Now it's just there. And Wheeler Yuta's just a guy. I agree with you 100%. The end of it with Danielson and Shingo was good, but I'm just over the BCC being on every show. Give them a storyline. Give them a couple of weeks off. Let's let them make me want to see them because right now I don't.
Yeah. Very rare do we see a DQ finish in AEW, but I think it worked here with all the. I agree, Phil. That's what I was saying to Blake. With everything that went on, I guess I missed Naito coming out. I don't remember Moxley and Naito. I remember when I came back for a quick second, I had to go handle something, and I saw Moxley going somewhere, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, but no stare down between Naito and Moxley, and then I see Danielson and Shingo have this stare down. I was like, great, that's great. Way to sell the match on Sunday. It's the Owen Hart tournament. I'm here for it. But I didn't mind this finish because they're selling a pay-per-view on Sunday. So
yeah, it was fine. The finish, the finish was the best part of the match. I mean, like I said, the rest of it, I don't care because the BCC wrestles all the time, and I don't know who. I know who Shingo is, but the other two guys, I don't know or care about. So like, it just wasn't. It wasn't something that like when it came on, I was like, cool, I want to watch this. It was like, all right, what else is on the show?
Billy says, why does JD hate AEW now? You'd have to ask JD.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think All Elite Wrestling has, grown leaps and bounds and has made a lot of strides to get better. And some people just, I will say this, a lot of your content reviewers, a lot of your major streamers review things from their perspective.
Jay just said the right answer.
Money, Billy. Yeah,
it's a gimmick that he makes money off of.
Well, I won't go that far, but I'll say that I think a lot of podcast streamers, or podcasters and streamers, I think they review things for an audience of one, and they never put themselves in the wide net. It's always just, I don't like this because this sucks or that sucks. And that's not, you show your entire hand when you do that. Just because something isn't what you like or you're accustomed to or how you would book it doesn't mean it sucks. You got to remember, they are not booking a show or writing a show just for Andrew Bedell, Blake Mitchmore, and JD. Or
they're damn sure not writing it for me because I don't like a lot of it most of the time.
Let's talk about something I did like. Jay White and Rey Fenix. Jay White gets the victory here. He advances in the Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament quarterfinal. I love that. Jay White, in my opinion, needs a big push, but the problem here is that this push is going to be halted once we get to either the finals, because no one's winning this tournament besides Bryan Danielson. But Jay White is on that other side of that bracket, Blake. And right now we got Jeff Jarrett and somebody else who's showing up next week. We don't know. The Elite's going to name that person. Seems like it's going to be Adam Hangman Page. We'll have to wait and see. But Jay White and Rey Fenix, great match. We all knew that was going to be the case here. How do you feel about Jay White winning this match and advancing? And how do you feel he should be booked going forward in All Elite Wrestling?
He definitely needs to be booked better than he has. I mean, outside of that little run with Max last year when Max was world champion, Jay's run, for the most part, has been a big miss for me in AEW. And Jay is a guy that, in my opinion, they should be leaning on and pushing as one of their top guys. So I agree with you on the match. I thought the match was good. I think Jay needs to be pushed. I don't know about the tournament because the Elite angle, which we'll talk about, that's one thing. I can sit here and tell you that, like I said last week, I don't care to see Jeff Jarrett wrestle anymore. But the video that they put out this weekend was good and was a good justification of why he's in the tournament.
Okay, you saved yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't hate just for the sake of hating. I just don't care about Jeff Jarrett.
I wouldn't do a show with you. I wouldn't do a show with you.
But so
hold on a second. Hold on. Do you think Jarrett's going to the finals? I'm glad that you brought this up. Do you think Jarrett's going to the finals?
That's where I'm going. After that video this weekend, I started to think, oh shit, Jeff Jarrett's going to get a run in this thing. But the element of it all depends on who the wild card is and what happens with the wild card next week. If it's Hangman Page and he's full on with the Elite, I don't know. I might be back to Jarrett's getting bounced in the first round.
All right, let's talk about this for a quick second.
If there's some kind of schmoz finish that helps Jarrett advance and continues the Elite storyline, like, I'm good. If whatever the Scissor Gang, I can't. What's their fucking name? It's gonna drive me. I can't spit it out.
Bang Bang Scissor Gang?
No.
Acclaimed?
Yes, I couldn't spit the Acclaimed out for some reason. If the Acclaimed goes out and if it is Hangman or whatever, and the Acclaim goes out and costs him the match with Jarrett, then I could see Jarrett advancing. But yeah, that video package, even though I can sit here and tell you I don't care to watch Jeff Jarrett wrestle in 2024, that video package this week, it was great. And it was a good justification of why Jeff is in the tournament. And it made me kind of think, shit, Jeff might get a run in this thing.
Hey, look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Not me, not you. I would have never thought you would see things this way. But I'm glad that the video did something for you, because I'm going to tell you this much. I don't think they release the video. I don't think they put the video out if they don't have plans for Jarrett to go deep or deeper into this tournament. Here's the deal for me. If Hangman Page beats Jarrett in the first round, where are they going with this? Or whomever beats Jarrett, where are they going with this? So what is Jeff going to like shrivel up and die, or he's going to start complaining? There's no money in that, in my opinion. There's no drama.
No, I agree. And that's why, like, after that video this weekend, until the Elite segment, I honestly thought the wild card was just going to be a fart in church, and it was just going to be, you know, whoever, Rob Van Dam or some random.
That's not a fart.
Well, I mean, it's not like a storyline, like a storyline edition, just like some random person that Jeff Jarrett would have a great match with and beat.
Yeah,
that's what I honestly thought after that video. Like I said, the element of if it is Hangman Page, that makes me start to think it's at least 50-50 that Jarrett's getting bounced in the first round still.
Yeah, I will say this. You know, you have Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. We saw that match. Pac won. You have Danielson and Shingo. Danielson's going to win that one. So you got Pac and Danielson in the semifinals. Danielson's going to win that. Danielson goes to the finals. You have Rey Fenix and Jay White, which we just saw and we're talking about. Jay White won. Jarrett and the wild card. There's a lot of things you could do with this wild card. Darby Allin could come back in Chicago. I don't care who else can come back to screw whomever is quote unquote with the Elite. And you could have Jarrett move to the semifinals. Now, Jarrett in the finals in Calgary.
Jarrett doesn't need to beat Jay White.
No, but he will. If he gets through this first round.
That's terrible.
But I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of emotion and people are going to get invested. I understand,
but I'm just telling you, Jarrett doesn't need to beat Jay White.
I agree. But what I'm saying here is that Jeff Jarrett is not going to win this thing, so it doesn't matter. This is for Danielson. I believe Danielson's headed to All In. He's going to beat Swerve, and I think that's where we're headed with this. But Jarrett in the finals makes a lot of sense from the video package they put out.
I agree. I need to ask a different question about this Jay White match.
Mm-hmm.
Not really Jay White, but why in the blue hell is the Bang Bang Gang carrying around 9 belts?
Well, so I believe they have the ROH Trios title.
I don't need you to justify. There's no reason to justify. They need to carry one. They're carrying 2 sets of AEW 6-man titles and the ROH 6-man
Bro, they're
titles.
Heels. You know how that works.
I don't care. It looks ridiculous.
Oh, for sure. If you're talking about like visually wise and aesthetics, absolutely. But they're heels. I mean, The Rock they created a championship with The Rock and he walked out of WrestleMania for it. And you saw everybody being like, why the hell does this guy have
for him?
But hold on a second. You got to remember, The Rock came out with a championship belt and everyone was like, what the hell is this guy doing? Why does he have this? And because he's a heel. It got everyone talking.
It still looks asinine when they all have 3 belts. Like the freaking Guns have 2 hanging off their hips and 1 around their waist. It looks ridiculous.
Speaking of which, we saw Christian, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne come out after this. And I was hoping this match would be made official for Forbidden Door, even though there's really no Forbidden Door involved in this. They could still have a goddamn match. Which, another thing, AEW, I love you. But I mean, you don't censor shit and ass, but you censor goddamn from MJF. That was, I know this is a Christian talking. I'm just saying it was a little strange, but I digress too. I didn't want Christian to really go into this whole trios thing, but I'm here for it now. Go take the championships off of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I need Jay White so far away from the Gun Club, and I want him to do his own thing. That Christian, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne winning the trios titles until Copeland can come back, and maybe Copeland and FTR take them off of Christian, and then we reignite the feud between Copeland and Christian. I'm here for it.
So just we're going right back to Copeland and Christian when Christian comes back?
I think possibly. I mean, I really think that Copeland was going to do something with Christian at All In, and it's not going to happen, obviously.
I don't have a problem with Christian and them. Like, I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm here for it, but like, I don't have a problem with it because it's fine. And I agree with you. Like I said, when we started talking about Jay White, they need to get Jay White into a better place than he is right now.
Jay White needs to be a singles. International championship is fine with me. The TNT championship is fine with me as well, even though that's going to Jack Perry. We'll get into that. Phil says, I'm hoping that Joe Hook and Shibata get near the trios titles. Here's the deal for me. I love me some Joe and Hook, but I would like to see them go for the tag titles. Shibata's, his gimmick's good. It's funny, but realistically, like Joe's coming off a world championship run.
Boy, listen, I enjoy the Hook Joe dynamic, but boy.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, hey, you're the world champ. Get your ass back to the bottom of the card. Like, I mean, he's working with the premier athletes after being the world champ.
I don't know if it's the bottom of the card, but it's hard to book Joe after they made Joe dominant. They really did. And then Swerve beat him. And they immediately went into a different program. And I think if they even tried to run back Swerve and Joe, I think it'd be tough at this point.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, it just feels like they just are like, all right, cool, Joe. Thanks. Yeah, go work with these jabrones over here now.
Well, let's talk about something you love and that is cool. And that's the trios match we saw because you love you some Outcast and you love you some Saraya.
Like me
so Saraya, Anna Jay, and Harley.
Like the dance routine tonight from Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa.
I'm sure. Look at you pronouncing that correctly too. Saraya, Anna Jay, Harley Cameron, no doubt here. Besides what we talked about last night, but anyways, Mina, Mariah, and Tony. You Booker T. We'll leave it at that. I'm not talking about Booker.
Yeah.
Mina, Mariah, and Tony against Saraya, Anna Jay, and Harley. Before this, we saw Matt and Nick say that they're going to put the wild card in, blah, 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 blah. Fine. But let's get into this trios match. May Storm and Shirakawa won. Mina gets the pin. All signs point to Tony retaining her championship at Forbidden Door. But I think what I'd like to see is Mariah show a little more allegiance to Mina than Tony, and Tony start to be like, hey, what the hell's going on here? Because that split's coming. I think that match is happening at All In, so let's kind of throw a little sazon on that possible feud.
100%. I think that's exactly what's happening. I think, you even saw a little bit of the dissension tonight when Mariah had to go back and, I mentioned the dance routine, but Mariah came out with Tony first and then ran back in the tunnel and came out and did the dance routine with Mina. So Mariah's kind of stuck in the middle between the two of them. Then there was the missed shot where Mariah got knocked out. There's going to be something that plays out. Maybe she doesn't, the Tony turn doesn't full on happen at Forbidden Door, but that's where it's going. Mariah is going to either because Tony forces her hand, or voluntarily, Mariah is going to choose Mina over Tony, and Mariah and Mariah's going to win the women's Owen, and Tony and Mariah are fighting at Wembley.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think they should tease like whose side is she on, like that type of stuff at the pay-per-view. I don't think the split needs to happen until she wins the Owen and for the women, and then we get the whole like, I have a lot of respect for you, blah blah blah. I think Tony, realistically, I'm just gonna put the pencil in my hand on this one. Tony beats Mariah at All In, and then Mariah beats Tony in Chicago at All Out. That's how I do it. But
Tony
either way,
Tony doesn't do that. He's not doing that to a girl from England at Wembley.
You're probably right, but I'm just saying
that's a Vince McMahon move.
No, we'll have to wait and see. What do you think of Jericho and Shibata? What do you think? We got Suzuki now. He's challenging for the FTW title. Hook, Shibata, and Joe come out, interrupt Jericho. Shibata and Hook say, and Joe say, wasn't that embarrassing? And we got Jericho and Suzuki for the FTW Championship on Long Island.
I'm fine with that. This Jericho gimmick is so hard for me because it sucks. And
On
it's hard
purpose.
to watch. But it's supposed to be.
Yep.
So, like, I find myself watching these Jericho segments and teetering between feeling like I'm being worked and not being worked because, like, I'm like, oh, God, this is so bad and this is so annoying. But I know that's what Chris is doing on purpose. So that makes me go, but it's actually kind of good because he's doing it to the point that it's legitimately making me go, this fucking sucks. I don't want to watch it anymore.
Read that. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's the best way I know to put it. Like, I'm very torn by this gimmick because I respect the hell out of it because of what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And he's making it work, and he's that annoying. But it is hard to watch on TV.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's the point. I love when you get these big podcasters or even the streamers or even the people who just cover the product and they're like, oh God, Jericho, this is terrible. Get this shit off my television. Hey, you who tweet that or who say that on your streams, they got you. That's what they're trying to do. That's what Jericho is trying. That's the whole purpose of this. It's the whole purpose. So if that's how you feel, then Chris is doing his goddamn job.
Right. That's the best way I know how to put it is I respect the hell out of Chris for this because he's doing so good that watching the segments I flip in my head between God, this freaking sucks, man. But then I go, but it's supposed to suck, so yeah, okay, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best compliment I can pay Chris is that as somebody who's watched this a long time, he's getting me to the point where I'm floating between whether or not it actually sucks or Chris is just doing his job in the segments.
Willie Martin says the gimmick is so terrible that it's actually genius. That's the whole point.
100% it is.
That's the whole point.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that's the biggest is Chris can make me not want to watch it, but at the same time respect it.
Yeah. And again, I don't think this was the original direction that Chris was going with this character.
Oh, he's ramped it up completely since the internet started on him.
Yeah. And after he won the title at Dynasty, I said this, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I said to everybody, hey, this, you guys are not going to want to know where this is going, but Chris is going to dial this up to 12. And he did. Billy said,
dialed it up to like 25.
Billy says, hey, Andrew, huge fan of yours. Do you see as crazy as it sounds, but do we see Shane McMahon coming into AEW after Tony Khan talked about it today? Billy, give me 1 second. We'll get to that. Jericho and Suzuki, it's FTW rules on Long Island. I'm here for it. I think Jericho is winding his career down in All Elite Wrestling and he's doing matches he wants to do, gimmicks he wants to do. So I'm here for it. I will be.
Is it FTW rules or is it for the world rules?
It's got to be FTW rules. So if Jericho wants to take out like a paper tree, I think Suzuki will probably take out like thumbtacks.
So that would be entertaining if Jericho took out a paper tree.
Yeah, something like that. And Jericho's so good at making you hate him and make you believe in a gimmick and hate the gimmick and everything else like that. So it's working. It's working for all you knuckleheads to keep putting 100%.
Out. Like I said, I mean, he gets me to where I borderline hate him during the segment. And then I go, well, yeah, but that's what he wants me to do. So good job, Chris.
That's what he wants. Kyle O'Reilly and Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, everyone knew this match was going to be good. And it was. The match was very good. But realistically, Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy have a match at the Forbidden Door on Long Island. They played up a little bit of this, but realistically, I just think this was Tony booked this, like he said, for the sickos. If you're a huge, like, technical mat wrestling fan, this was right up your alley. For me, I would have I know this is going to sound crazy. I would have liked to have seen Cassidy either as the special referee or, which AEW really doesn't do at all, or even another tag match where maybe Cassidy and O'Reilly take on Zack Sabre Jr. and somebody else. I don't know. Just me.
Yeah, this was a miss for me. This was a wrestling match for the sake of a wrestling match, which just doesn't do
the sickos.
I know it does. Yeah, exactly. I know it doesn't for some people, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh my God, it fucking sucks and it's terrible, but it doesn't do it for me. Like, I don't care. I didn't care about Kyle O'Reilly. I know who Zack Sabre Jr. is, but like, yeah, it's just, and then even the ending, they tried to give you some sell of the Orange Cassidy match, but like even that was random with Orange coming down to check on Kyle, and then the random jabrones from Sabre's faction jumping in the ring, and then Tomohiro Ishii coming down, and then the random jabron from Bullet, I guess it's called Bullet Club War Dogs now. Couldn't have told you that before tonight. And then the spare ass Undisputed Kingdom. Like, it's just, the ending was just a clusterfuck.
I would tend to agree with some of the things you said. AEW does a good job of protecting talent, so they're never going to just sit back and like bury somebody. So again, I would have liked to have seen a tag match here, but let's talk about Zack Sabre Jr. Are you impressed with his technical abilities? Do you think this is somebody that once he becomes free of all of his contractual obligations that AEW should go get, or would he be on WWE's radar? You want to talk about somebody who fits into Imperium and Gunther's stable. It works.
I mean, he's a great wrestler, but like I said, for me, like, that's why it doesn't work for me. Because him just coming in and wrestling a match and not really giving me a story or a program, like I can't sink my teeth into him. Like there's, that's the thing with wrestling in 2024. Back in the day, in like the 80s and the early 90s, the technicians were few and far between. Dude, everybody can put on a 5-star match now.
Yeah.
So like it's hard for me to judge Zach. I mean, he's great. He's a very good wrestler, technically proficient, but it's hard for me to judge Zach because I don't know what he can do from a character perspective because I don't watch New Japan.
Yeah. Well, and again, there are now 11 matches on the Forbidden Door card on Long Island.
Hell.
So we'll probably get one more. I think they give it a 12. And Tony, I love you, but can you please have like an espresso machine at the post-show media scrum? Because I'm going to need it.
Is this on Saturday night or Sunday night?
Sunday night.
Well, I'll be watching the second half of the show Monday morning.
Sunday night, because the UFC pay-per-view is on Saturday that Conor McGregor was supposed to be fighting on, and he's no longer doing that.
Okay. But still.
Yeah. There's one. Midnight. Well, there'll be 2 matches on 0 hour, I think. So we'll have 9 on the pay-per-view. But you know what? I will say AEW has done a really good job pacing their shows on pay-per-view. Double or Nothing was a holiday weekend, and they were still off, I believe, at 3 hours and it was like 3 hours, 45 minutes. Dynasty was like 3 hours and 20 minutes. So if they can keep that pacing, I'm here for it. Let's talk about how AEW Dynamite went off the air. That's Swerve, Strickland, Will Ospreay. Can they coexist, brother? Taking on the Gates of Agony. Shout out to Khan. Khan's a good dude. Played football with Khan, so wish him all the best. Ospreay and Strickland, they worked together, and then they defeated the Gates of Agony, and then Will took Swerve's championship title again, and that was enough for Swerve, and I loved it. Swerve got angry. He went back to his, hey, don't fuck with me stage, don't fuck with me character, and he kicked Will right in the head and laid him out. And realistically, Swerve's retaining the belt on Sunday. There's no doubt in my mind now from what we saw. I do think that Will is going to have that moment. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but I will tend to agree now. I don't like to steal people's stuff. That Will is going to try and use that Tiger Driver, and he just won't do it. And that's where Swerve is going to be that heelish character that we've seen, and he's going to be the ultimate opportunist, and he's going to cash.
Use it when Will won't.
Ooh, I love it. That I love. I will tell you that I loved that Swerve got nasty at the end here because he desperately needed it. I don't like happy-go-lucky Swerve. I like Swerve telling everybody he's better than this guy, that guy, and I love Swerve saying, I'm going to kick your teeth in, and I'm going to take my championship. I'm going to go home. That's what I love from Swerve. I don't like the, hey, man, you're a great wrestler. Can't wait to wrestle you. Miss me with that shit. But the ending was great. Blake?
Yeah, I would agree 100% with what you said. I mean, listen, going into this match, we talked about it off air and just seeing it, I was like, come on. Really? We're going to do the can they coexist gimmick? And like, listen, Tony hasn't done it that much, but Vince McMahon and WWE just beat that into the ground for years and years and years and years to the point of like, I just don't want to see it anymore. But to that point, so I was not really invested in the main event for 3/4 of it because of that. But the ending was really good.
Yeah.
And you went off the air going, okay. I mean, what they did last week was great. And they made me want to watch the match even more now. So I thought the ending was great, and I thought they closed the show really strong. But the main event as a whole, this kind of mid for me. But I thought the ending was, like you said, the ending was fantastic.
Yeah. This was the perfect, like I said, I've asked for a little sazon, which is seasoning for those who don't season their food, on this feud, and they did it. They did it here. Yep. They're headed to Forbidden Door. This has a new little wrinkle to this match. I really want to see if they play up on it on Collision, which is being taped right now, so we'll have to wait and see. That'll air live Saturday. Well, it won't air live. It'll be taped, but it'll be the first time we're able to see it Saturday on TNT. Mercedes Mone is going to be in the building. Stephanie Vacour is wrestling, so that's interesting. I mean, you could have had those two have maybe an interaction, but again, this is not the go-home show. We're going to end here with this on our review. We're going to take your questions live, and we'll get to them in the order they're received, as many as we possibly can here. But again, this is not the go-home show for AEW. That will be Saturday. This is one of the go-home shows, but it's not the go-home show. So again, I know if you didn't see your favorite guy or girl here on the show, or you're wondering, hey, how are they going to play up on this feud, or they didn't answer this question, or they didn't add anything to this match, they're taping a show right now. So we'll have to wait and see. And it's important that they capitalize on Collision, because that'll be the last time that you get to see the guys and girls from All Elite Wrestling before you buy the pay-per-view. So, Blake, overall Dynamite for you, yay or nay, or thumbs in the middle?
Thumbs in the middle. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like something that was like, oh my God, this show is absolutely terrible. It just, I thought last week's show was really good, top to bottom, and this show just wasn't for me. It was just kind of mid.
Yeah. I will say that MJF being upstaged by Will Ospreay is a nice little wrinkle. The ending with Will and Swerve is a nice little wrinkle. I like the Suzuki Jericho match. I think that's going to be something that a lot of people are sleeping on. And again, I think there's a lot of things on this Forbidden Door card that people are kind of like, and they're gonna deliver, because a lot of people really don't know this talent.
Listen, at the end of the day, I mean, AEW's had a lot of builds to pay-per-view, so you could go, they're not really doing anything to make me want to watch the show. But the show in the end, and listen, I don't know half of this talent because I don't watch New Japan, I don't watch CMLL, but I can sit here and go, I know the show's going to deliver Sunday night. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to watch half of it Monday morning, but I know that show's going to deliver, because they always deliver. They always deliver great shows on pay-per-view. So that's not a question. It's just, if you're trying to analyze it, I think I could have done better trying to make me want to watch it. Or if I wasn't going to be one of the people that were going to watch it, make me want to buy it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's a lot of, I won't agree with the, you make me want to buy it. I think this is for the traditional New Japan AEW fans, which obviously you've said you're not. You don't know this talent, but I think it's a good way. It's a good way to introduce them to you.
I still, and that's one of my, I guess, issues with AEW. From my perspective is, I think if you're running a business, I think it's great. Like, having this show to cater to the hardcore fans is great, but you should always be wanting to do something to bring in new fans, and selling this show might potentially help you bring in new fans. And I don't think they've done that. And so that would be my perspective, is I think they could improve on that. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's just something I think they can improve on.
I think the fans of this show are already watching All Elite Wrestling, and I think this is just Tony Khan and New Japan Pro Wrestling, Tanahashi, and the guys and girls over at CMLL and AAA saying, hey, this is our one night to have fun against other talent that normally wouldn't happen. And you're still getting an AEW World Heavyweight Championship match, and you're still getting an IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. I'm thankful for that. I hated And I don't use that word often, but I absolutely hated when we had a New Japan Pro Wrestling talent contracted fight for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship when you knew that champion wasn't going to win that match. Just ridiculous. Let's say here. Let's go to Billy says TK is Mr. Pay-Per-View. I agree. They do a really good job on the pay-per-views. Billy again says, hey, Andrew, you should ask Tony Khan about where Ricky Starks is in the Motor City Machine Guns tomorrow. Billy, I'm going to just be honest with you here, buddy. I will never ask, unless it's really important, I will never ask a storyline-driven question, and I will never ask about when somebody's debuting, because that's just ridiculous. Jay says, any idea who the last man in the ladder match could be? There's nobody from CMLL yet. Could be Mystica. Maybe. It doesn't matter who's in it because Jack Perry's winning it, right, Blake?
They have done nothing to it. There's nobody in the match. And if it is random CMLL guy or random New Japan guy, there's nobody in this match.
Yeah.
Other than Jack Perry that's seems like a viable candidate to win the match. Could they do something like you said? Could Darby come back and cost Jack and somebody else win it? Maybe, but going into the match, there's nobody. If you look at that match, where you go, oh yeah, maybe Mark Briscoe could win. No, Jack Perry's the only guy that's winning the match.
And at the end of the day, the Elite need to be holding majority of the gold, and that's what this is. You have Okada with the championship, you have the Bucks with championships, then you have Jack Perry with a championship, and it works. Do I think this was the plan? No, I think Copeland was not dropping this championship anytime soon. But now, why not? Why not? Let's see. What do we got here? Other content creators are saying AW is lifeless and boring. Your takes? My take is that that's an easy way to pump viewers and everything else like that, because AEW is not lifeless, and I think it's an easy wagon to jump on that bandwagon all you want. I just it's not for me. We'll have constructive criticism, and we will always make sure that we do our best. If we don't like something, to say we don't like something, but we'll never make it personal. And I can tell you that there are some things that AEW does that I'm like, and then there's some things that AEW does that I'm like, this is really good. And the way that some content creators are just saying that everything AEW is doing is bad is just, it's brutal. That's not true at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're lifeless and boring. I would say they're in a really challenging position right now. Their chief competition and who they get compared to is freaking nuclear hot.
Yeah.
And just by that alone, the energy is going to go to them. So, like, their show does feel, to the lifeless and boring comment. Yeah, some weeks there's a lack of energy in the crowd, but that's not because they're not trying. It's just they're going to have to tread water and ride out this hot streak of WWE for a little while.
Myself and Corey says, keep killing it, gents. Corey, always good to hear from you. Great show last night. Thank you for doing the WCW show, and I look forward to seeing you on Long Island and maybe even in New York City for SmackDown. There's a rumor going around that Dwayne might show up. I don't know if I buy it. Right. I don't know if I buy it. But you said the whole attendance thing and everything else like that. And it's funny because I think people forget that WWE in 2018, 2019 was reporting record low attendance records. They had a pay-per-view that drew 3,500 people. Okay. And now they're white hot. You want to know why? Because they bought talent, they built talent, and they made you want to watch their television. They hired writers from Marvel, and they have the Bloodline and everything else like that. That's all you need is a hot angle.
Yeah, they hit on the biggest angle in wrestling in years.
Yeah.
With the Bloodline, and that's what got their product hot. And then Cody came along, and Cody's been a bona fide star for them. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't count that against AEW from the aspect of, yes, if you're watching the TV show and there's a small crowd, it doesn't have the same energy from a TV viewership perspective. 100%. It doesn't feel the same. But yeah, unfortunately, they're just, like I said, they're in a tough spot right now. I mean, they're going to have to tread water with fans for a little while until either A, they hit on whatever their Bloodline angle is that sparks a major interest in their product, or until they ride out this WWE hot streak. Because like you said, it may be 3, 4, 5, who knows, 2, 3, 4 years from now, but it's going to end. In 2018, WWE was going through the same thing. they're going to go through the same thing again at some point, and AEW will come up at that point. They just got to ride it out. And luckily, unlike a lot of wrestling companies, AEW has the financing to do so.
And again, they really did have an angle. It was unfortunate that a lot of men couldn't put their egos aside and get this angle to the wrestling ring and make some money, because they would have made money hand over fist. They would have printed money. And the guy who was trying to do things a certain way and was trying to maybe move past that is now working for WWE. So,
yep, I agree.
Corey says Jack Perry is, you got to think Jack Perry is going to win it for sure. We agree, Corey. We agree. Nicholas says, Drew, what do you think about the ticket sales so far? They seem to be trending upwards. And also, do you see the video of former ESPN president talking about ratings? Nicholas, I would predict and project that AEW is going to have 10,000 people at UBS. They've done very well with readjusting their pricing structure, and people are gobbling up the tickets. And New York will listen. New York's getting spoiled this week. They have SmackDown on Friday at the Garden, and then they have UBS for the Forbidden Door. So I think a lot of wrestling fans are going to spend some money on SmackDown, and then they're going to head over to the Forbidden Door on Long Island. It's a good walk-up market for the most part, too. You said, I asked a question about the ratings. I've been steadfast on this, and I'll continue to be steadfast on this. The ratings matter to the wrestling jerk-offs, truthfully. And I mean that with the fans who like flag wave and flag bear and want to plant a flag for a company, and they take it as a win or a loss. The only thing that ratings matter to or for are advertisers, truthfully, in 2024. That's it. That's really it. The ratings, WWE is doing great numbers for 2024, and that's why their advertiser dollars are through the roof. And if ratings was such a big deal, Raw would not be moving to Netflix.
Well,
off cable? No way.
Well,
no way. I mean, the money's long with Netflix. That's why WWE is gone.
Yeah. That's the biggest offer. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Listen, ratings don't matter like they used to. I won't go so far as to say they don't matter at all, like you did. And I think it's all in the conversation you have on ratings. Like, the ratings interest me because at this stage in my life, the business of pro wrestling is far more interested than talking about creative and matches.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting for me to follow but like, if I'm being honest, it's interesting, but like, I don't give a shit if 100,000 people watch AEW.
You want to know what's the tell? If you really want to know the business between the business,
it's interesting from a business perspective. From a wrestling perspective, I can give a shit how many people watch the show.
I would ignore the ratings, truthfully. I really would. I know Jericho and Tony and everybody else made a big deal about it. They were smart. They were winning a demo. It really put them on the map.
That's
blah, blah,
the
blah,
worst thing from an AEW perspective. That's honestly, I think, you say that, and I honestly think that if they had not done that in the outset of AEW, the backlash about bad ratings right now would not be as severe.
Sure. But what I will say is, if you really want to look if a wrestling company is successful or not in 2024, it is not your cable ratings numbers. It's your ticket sales and your pay-per-view buy rates if you have them. If you don't have pay-per-view, it's your total encompassing package on your media rights. And Tony Khan and AEW are going to get a media rights deal. If it's profitable, watch out, because I think it will be. So we'll have to wait and see.
And that's going to be the telltale sign. I mean,
yeah.
When that deal comes out, if it's something, if it's 9 figures, that tells you right there that obviously Warner values them. If it's less than 9 figures and it's close to what they're getting right now, then it's another story. That's going to be the telltale sign is when you get the figures on that deal.
I'm saying 140 to 150 million per year, and I say it's anywhere from 4 to 5 years. If they get a 10-year deal, it's probably going to be over $1 billion. So be prepared for that. But I don't know if you want a 10-year deal.
I think
if I'm AEW, I don't want a 10-year deal.
I think they were getting a deal regardless, but I think that Warner Media losing the NBA helped their cause quite a bit because now Warner needs content to fill their networks more than they did a year from now.
Yeah. Jay, I have no idea what you're talking about. Isn't that just what JD said? No, thanks. I don't know. I'm not watching JD streaming. I have no idea what he just said. So if you want to fill me in, go for it. Billy asked about Shane McMahon and All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
let's close with this. If you want to tell me what JD said, and I could say exactly what Billy said about what if Shane McMahon comes in and the Elite brings him in and controls Dynamite and TK runs Collision? No. Listen, if Shane McMahon does come in, first of all, AEW would be smart to listen to whatever Shane wants to do. But the problem is if Shane comes in under Warner Brothers Discovery, that's a problem. Shane needs to be an AEW contracted talent. You don't want and I'm not talking about storyline wise. If he wants to be like the network or the executive, fine. But what I'm saying is if Shane comes in and he is brought in by Warner Brothers Discovery, that's a problem for Tony and AEW. Tony should sign him to a talent contract or an executive contract on the All Elite Wrestling side and keep it there. But I think AEW would be stupid not to hear or listen to what Shane wants and have the conversation, because that is a giant boost. And you want to talk about people talking, everyone's going to talk.
Yeah. I think it's probably going to happen? No, I think there are probably too many egos involved to make it happen. Even with what Tony said today, I think Tony was just doing what he normally does in the media, which is smart, is just like, oh shit, maybe Tony will bring him in. Oh,
Tony's NFL trained. You're never going to get that man to like say something that he shouldn't say.
100%. Tony's smart when it comes to the media. Do I think they should? 100% if it works out. And I agree with you. I mean, I don't think that would be on the table. I wouldn't think Tony would agree to, unless Warner gave him no option. I wouldn't think Tony would agree to Shane being brought into Warner. Tony would want the control over it. But yeah, just because of the name McMahon, it's going to have people. I would say that they would have people talking more than anything they've ever done next to bringing CM Punk back if they brought in Shane McMahon.
Oh, yeah. If you bring in Shane McMahon to AEW and, we just had the death of WCW all over Vice and all this other stuff, and now Shane's in AEW.
Next to CM Punk, it would be the biggest buzz they've ever gotten.
Yeah, and I could promise you this. If Shane is advertised for a Dynamite, it's over 1 million.
Huge ratings. Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Huge ratings. The first one, it might be the same thing we saw with Punk, where they got a really huge rating and then it dipped down. Now, we saw the level off even more from when Punk was gone. But yes, 100%. That the first, if Shane McMahon's appearance on AEW, or even if it's like Punk and it's just hinted at and never talked about and never confirmed, if it's just like, we're going to be in Hartford, Connecticut. Word is, here comes the money. If they do that kind of stuff like they did with Punk, they never said Punk was going to be at the last or the first dance in Chicago. They never said Punk's name, but Darby said best in the world. This guy said that. This guy said that. If they do that kind of stuff with Shane McMahon, even then it would get big ratings.
Nicholas says, what would you have Shane do? I would say, truthfully, if you bring in Shane can't come in as a heel out of the gate because he's not going to be booed. Even in the AEW like arenas, and that fan base is not going to boo Shane. So if you want to bring Shane in, bring him as an ally to Tony. If you want to flip him, and Shane's been working with the Elite the whole time, that's a way to get some real heat on Shane. But at the end of the day, again, I don't care what you do with Shane McMahon. You just get him on your damn television if you can.
I don't think Tony would do this, but what I would do is Tony would align with the Elite and Shane would come in to save AEW because Shane would not be a heel.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Josh says it's refreshing to hear a wrestling podcast that isn't all about yelling at TK or writing a show if someone doesn't finish the story. Again, our shows and my shows will never be dedicated to hate content. And also, I don't look at things from a me perspective. I look at the wrestling industry and television shows, because that's what wrestling is. It's a television show from a wide net. It's a variety show. So if I don't like something, that doesn't mean the show sucked. Or if it wasn't for me, that doesn't mean the entire show sucked. They are obviously appealing to a ton of different demographics and a ton of different, people. Variety. That's what this is. That's what it is. Well,
look, and at the end of the day, there's also respect for the effort that's put into this, whether it's, critiquing matches and the effort that the guys and girls put in on a nightly basis, or even to the point of like, listen, there was stuff on this show tonight that didn't work for me from a fan's perspective. But I respect the fact that Tony and his team were in there trying. And they thought it was something that looked good on paper, and it just didn't, for me, didn't come out good. So there's just a big difference, like you said, with hate content across the board. You can critique something and talk about the fact that it didn't work for you without going, this fucking sucks. This show's the worst. This show, to quote the comment in the chat, that it's lifeless and boring and AEW's mistreating their fans or whatever the hell, let's just call a spade a spade, whatever the hell JD's saying right now. You can do this without doing that.
Yeah, the other thing for me is that I hated watching a lot of the people in the media realm or the industry sit back and say, this was a really good show last week, which Blake said himself, and he's not normally, he doesn't say that. He said this show was really, really good. And then they saw the ratings come out and they're like, see, I told you AEW's got giant problems and they suck.
Jay just said it. Like, I mean, he can listen to me and it's not for me. And he's correct. A lot of what they do is not for me. But I'm not going to sit here and just out and out bash it either.
Yeah. Well, Blake knows, because me and Blake talk every day. He's one of my closest friends. And I've always told him, never make anything personal. And that's why me and Blake come on here and do this, because Blake never makes anything personal, because he respects the talent that is in and out of that ring. And he also understands how hard it is to book a goddamn show. So with that being said, 12:15 Eastern tomorrow, I will be live on X. You can't record anything, so don't ask for that. But I will be live on X covering the Tony Khan media call before Forbidden Door. And then I hop on a flight. Jet picks me up. I go to New York. I'll be there maybe for SmackDown, but for sure.
Picks you up. Tony's coming to pick you up.
I don't know. Tony, I know you're in Buffalo right now, but come on, pick me up. Send the jet. Anyways, flight leaves. I head to New York. SmackDown on Friday is possible, but I will 100% be at the Forbidden Door on Long Island at UBS, and I cannot be more excited for that event.
Let me answer that question that Nicholas just asked.
What is it, Nicholas? How do you consume? Go ahead.
So, listen, I'm a big wrestling fan. I watch AEW every single week. I watch WWE programming every single week. I don't watch a lot of indies or anything like that. As far as what gets me in wrestling, it's a simple formula for me. Tell me a story that makes me want to watch two guys fight in a match. Like random matches for the sake of matches. I get it appeals to a lot of wrestling fans today. It does not appeal to me. I can't. I'm a little bit, I'm 40 years old. I'm a little bit older. I came up in the 80s style of TV. There wasn't like Hulk. I'm going to use Hulk Hogan as an example. Hulk Hogan didn't wrestle on Superstars and stuff hardly ever. But he appeared and he built to a match at WrestleMania. Or he built to a match at SummerSlam. And that's the kind of wrestling. That's what appeals to me in wrestling. But again, like we talked about, I respect the fact that there's a lot of fans that look at the product differently now. It's kind of a different genre now. And I can still find stuff that I like out of it. It doesn't mean I hate it all.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it doesn't hit for me because it's not the kind of wrestling that I grew up watching and what gets me to,
it's a variety show, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank the over.
I can say.
I want to thank the over 500 people who decided to spend some of their Wednesday night with us. So thank you very much for that. 500 lives, impressive, especially since we're just starting this over a month ago. Phil says, if I see you, Drew, that'll be great. I'll be there too. Have a good Phil, make it happen, man. You know me. I'm approachable. I'm the most approachable person. So make it happen. I will be happy to see you and shake your hand, take a picture, whatever you want.
Rub his head if you see him. Rub his head.
In a community full of cancerous tribalism, you guys being a positive light is an awesome look. When you guys become the #1 podcast community, I'm going to, yeah, man, we appreciate that. Thank you, Willie. Thank you very much. Any surprises? I don't know. Truthfully, I don't think you do a surprise on the Forbidden Door. Great show. Blake and Drew, have a great, you too, Phil. Let's see. One more and then we're out of here. Nicholas, really enjoy your take salads. Then no problem. Nicholas, thanks for tuning in. Blake, where can everyone not follow you?
My Twitter handle is on the screen underneath my name here. Where is it? There
You got
it.
You got it.
Right there. Just my name, Blake Mitchellmore. Tweet a lot. I don't Some days I tweet a lot, some days I don't. Like tonight, I told you I really liked the Mariah May and Mina Shear cow dance. I might go watch it after we get off the air here again because I thought it was great.
Whoa.
Why do you got to take it there, you perv?
What are you doing at 10:30 at night rewatching a girl dance? Come on.
Maybe that's how I go to sleep, is watching girls dance.
I bet you do, you pervert. All right. Everybody, like, subscribe, and follow. Hit that bell for notifications. We are off the air. I am Andrew Baydala. It's right there. Most of you already follow me, but if you're new to the channel, you're new to this show, please hit that like, subscribe, and follow button. Please follow me on Twitter. I appreciate it. I interact with everybody I possibly can. I look forward to seeing you all at Forbidden Door on Sunday.
I look forward. Rub his head.
Yeah. I look forward to covering Tony Khan's media call tomorrow at 12:15 Eastern. And if you are attending the Forbidden Door on Long Island, shoot me a DM or hit me with a notification, and you want to take a picture or you want to meet up and say what's up, talk some wrestling, have a beer, I'm there for it. All right? All right, guys.
If you take pictures with him, just make sure you frame it right and don't make him look like the Jolly Green Giant.
I am 6'3", so I am tall, but I'm not that tall. You're right.
Right, but there was pictures from you in Philadelphia where it looked like you were the same height as Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, that's good angle. Whoever took that picture. It's a damn good angle. All right, guys and girls, thank you very much. Blake, see you tomorrow, buddy.
See ya.